When I was asked to do a faith witness segment for Synod, I really had to think about what to focus on. It's not that easy. Thank you to those who've written years of homilies for me to listen to. I've decided to share with you a story of something I love to do, which is work with my bees. We began beekeeping in 2015, in part as a reaction to the news of the decline of the honeybee populations, and in part because I've always loved agricultural work. We thought we would keep some bees, harvest some honey and wax, maybe sell some and put a little money into our church. What began to happen as we spent time with these creatures was really something quite different. Honeybees are an entirely social insect with distinct roles within the colony. There couldn't be a colony without each other. Honeybees are one of the few creatures on Earth that work as a community to build a home and then work together to create food stores and raise their young. Queen bees live for 4 to 5 years. They will generally only leave the hive once, and that is for a mating flight. Once she has done that, she won't leave the colony again, and will spend her days laying brood. Her pheromones fill the hive and let the 100,000 or so bees at work know that she is alive and well. Worker bees are all females, daughters of the queen. They spend the day harvesting pollen, nectar, and building wax foundation for brood and honey, and raising up their sisters, the colony of the next generation. Spring and summer workers live a substantially shorter life than the queen, only 15 to 40 days. Their winter counterparts will live longer, between 140 and 300 days. Their job is to protect the queen through the cold of winter and to see her into the spring. The late summer bees will raise up the winter ones for a spring they will never see. They will have faith that their work has been done well and that the next generation is secure. Bees work very hard to create the structures they need to survive. One bee will visit between 75 and 3,000 flowers a day. She'll produce 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in her foraging life. The wax, honey, and brood foundation they create is many lifetimes of work. It takes thousands of honeybees to create the necessaries of life for a colony, a viable community. For all this work and investment, should things begin to go wrong in the colony, disease, lack of space, or something else, they'll leave. The queen will decide it's time to go and be gone. The brood laying will stop, her pheromones in the hive will cease, and things will become very broken. The generation upon generation of work the colony has done will be lost without their queen. For a time, a queenless hive is still full of hard-working and viable bees, resources like pollen, honey, and wax foundation. As time goes on, if the colony is allowed to remain without a queen, when the summer ends, they'll die. There'll be no winter bees, and the generational work will be gone. The countless hours and energy of building honey and brood foundation will be lost to moths and mold. The frames will be useless and will most likely be burned. It is a surprisingly sad event to witness. An intentional intervention by a beekeeper stops this. The queenless but viable hive, with all its resources, wax foundation, pollen, and honey, its generations of work, and its remaining workers, added onto the top of a queen-right colony, will not only allow the queenless hive to survive with all its lifetimes of resources, but make the new combined colony stronger, more viable. The added population adjusts to the pheromones of the new queen and often leads to successful overwintering. Some of these colonies become the strongest in our yards. I see God at work in our lives and in the church as I see the work in the bee yard. The queen, like the Holy Spirit, life-giving, providing comfort and reassurance when we're going in the right direction, and letting us know when we aren't. I think we can feel her absence, like the pheromone leaving the hive. It doesn't mean all is lost. It means we're going the wrong way, and we need to do something different. We need to intervene to make intentional change. In my experience, the sense that the Spirit is moving in a new direction and deciding to follow has brought the most needed renewal and the greatest reward. We don't need God to be the beekeeper, but we do need to pay attention for the moments when we need to be, when that intentional intervention is required. The efforts of a faithful old worker laying a stone foundation of a church for their community generations ago shouldn't be lost because the Spirit is moving in a new direction. We need the courage, the faith to follow, to preserve the generation after generation's work that put to the use it was intended for the building of the community of Christ in whatever new form that takes. Like the old worker and like our beloved bees, we're building something we'll never see finished. That's where the faith is. That's what the bees have been teaching me.